Water is fundamental to human development, from drinking water and sanitation to agriculture and more. You listen to Water Stories, a podcast series where you will learn everything about securing water, energy, and food security for all of us. Hello everyone, I am JC Giraldo, and today we have a new episode in this second season of Water Stories. Before starting, I would like to share this song with you. Okay, this sound is the sound of a Thailand riverboat on the Mekong River. It was interesting to start in this way because today we will discuss with our guest, who is based in Thailand, about the Stockholm Environment Institute initiative Water Beyond Boundaries and the community-based ecosystems in the Lower Songkhram River basin. As you know, the Songkhram River in northeastern Thailand is a tributary of the Mekong River, an important river in Asia. For this episode, my co-host is Vishal Mehta from Stockholm Environment Institute. Vishal is an environmental scientist with vast experience in water research. He's based in Davis, California. Vishal, I'm so glad that we have a new episode. How are you?
I'm good, Jesse. It's good to be back. I'm especially happy to welcome our guest all the way from Bangkok. Is Thanapon Piman, my colleague in the Asia office, which is in Bangkok, in Thailand. Thanapon is a senior research fellow. Before joining SEI Asia, he was with the Mekong River Commission, very accomplished and experienced in the Mekong River basin. And one of the main areas of Thanapon's work is on climate change and adaptation in that region. So, welcome, Thanapon.
Good morning, Michan and Jesse. Yeah, I'm very glad to be here and very exciting for my first episode for podcast today.
Thank you, Tanapong. Thank you for being our guest. Tanapong, to get into a context, I would like to start this conversation by asking you if you can share with our listeners what makes Songkhram River Basin very important.
Songkhram River is very important for the Mekong River because of its key habitat of fish migrations, and also it's also provide ecosystem service to the local community in the regions. So Lower Songkhram is very important and also have a kind of unique hydrological system in the wet season flow. During the wet seasons, when the water level in the Mekong is rising, there's a revert flow from the Mekong to the Lower Songkhram. This create a rich biodiversity wetland. So it's become habitat of fishery. It's become food for local people. It's become a unique system for flooded forest in the region. So that's why it become a regional asset of the Mekong River Basin as defined by the Mekong River Commission last 2 years ago.
Thank you, Tanapong. Vishal.
Yes, Thanapon, can you describe what are the main threats and changes this part of the Songkhram River Basin is facing? And with its designation through the Ramsar Convention, what are the opportunities for mitigating these threats and improving habitat conditions and livelihoods?
There are three main threats in the Lower Songkhram now. One is regarding to the changing of hydrological conditions in the Mekong rivers because of large uh, reservoir development in the basin. So those reservoirs have modified the seasonal flow. They try to redistribute wet season flow to the dry season flow. So it affects the flood power on the river and also the river flow to the lower Songkhram. So that's why now the hydrological condition in lower Songkhram it changing, and of course because of the changing it also have implication to the fish migration, to the fishermen. They had lost their kind of nature national was that they lost kind of natural kind of condition. So that is one key threat in the Lower Songkhram now. Second is also linked to the overuse of the ecosystem resort in Lower Songkhram, particularly overfishing from the local community. In the past, local community fishing uh, for food for kind of small scale economic development in the village or in the community. But however, because of the fish of Lower Songkhram become famous, you know, not only the fresh fish but also kind of dry fish in example, you know, that's why when demand is increasing so supply have to be increased too, so that's why local people have kind of over catch of fish that also make fish population degradation somehow. And the last threat is linked to the land use change, and also how to say that fertilizer from chemical fertilizer from the agriculture sector that also lead to water quality degradation. So many flooded area or forest, community forest in the Lower Songkhram have turned to agriculture area. So that's also destroy the key habitat, of bird and fish in the Lower Songkhram.
Thank you, Tanapon. I know that fisheries play an essential role in the sustainable economy in the Songkhram River Basin, and this is related to community basin ecosystems. In August 2022, you published a brief with your colleague Ridi Saluja on the website of the Stockholm Environment Institute entitled "The Wetlands of Lower Songkhram River Basin Needs Collaborated Conservation." And you mentioned this concept. How would you describe the concept of community based ecosystems?
Yeah, when we conduct the field research on the ground, we have a chance to interview and talk with the community. We found that some community there is a leader by the woman. That's very great, and also I think they're very keen on protecting the ecosystem. In example, community forests. They also try to promote how to use the forest product in sustainable way. In example, second, we also see that the community among the community itself, with maybe support from the local government, they try to establish, the fish conservation zone along the river. And the third, I think, action that I see is very important. Also, they work with the fish, Department of Fishery, to uh, to try to set a rule on fishing. So that's why during now the migration of fish, period, they are not allowed to catch any fish anymore. So they would like uh, fish to have time to breeding, to grow and to return back to the Mekong. So that kind of a concrete example that we found from our research under the Water Beyond Boundary initiative.
Tanapon, before giving the pass to Vishal, the basin is based on fishing, right? And floodplain agriculture.
Yes.
So my question is it 50% fishing and 50% floodplain agriculture, 60%, 40%? How is the balance of this in the communities of the basin, in your opinion?
Okay, so mostly of the community, most community people there have the main occupation on the right farming. That is the first kind of economic part, and fishery is more like a secondary job, for them during the flood period. So that is a kind of nature of the local economic there. So right farming is the first kind of occupation, for them. So they go right for food for sure, and then for selling. Uh-huh. Then during the flood, because they don't have land for farming anymore, so that's why they turn themselves into the fishermen. Uh-huh. So that is kind of the culture over there, right? And fish is their culture. Yeah.
Vishal.
Yes, Thanapon. So you had mentioned that this area is now part of the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands and is recognized as such. Now, for our listeners, the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands is an international treaty that provides frameworks for national action, international cooperation for the conservation and wise use of wetlands. So there are, I think, more than 170 contracting parties and more than 2,400 wetlands under this convention. I was just wondering if you could tell us about your hopes and any kind of tangible, opportunities that come from this designation.
Okay, that's very good question, Kap. Before I answer this question, let I also refer back to our field work on ground in the Lower Songkhram. We also asked the community on this question. What do you think about the Lamsa? Yeah, I think they have well aware about the importance of Lamsa uh-huh, to conserve the biodiversity and also to promote sustainable use. You know, uh, on the ecosystem service in the Lower Songkram. But however, there are also some community they are not really understand what Lamsa mean, and what benefit they will get if we turn them into the Lamsa. What is different? you know, do they gain more money? Do they have more job? So this is kind of also critical question to the community that I think we or the local government need to work more on how to show the importance of the REMSA in practice. So what I hope actually is not hope. What I need to see is actually after and now to become a LEMSA, I think the government now try to start setting a master plan in the Lower Songkhram to manage this resort together with the community. So I expect to see that the community will be a part of the planning process, and also it's gonna be more support in terms of technical, financial, and opportunity to community. To promote sustainable use of the ecosystem service and also have more alternative, or eco-friendly kind of action, in the Lower Songkram. Yeah.
Interesting, Thanapon. But not only the Ramsar Convention is working in these conservation issues, as we shall mention. I read in your report that the Mekong River Commission is one and the Thailand Master Plan of Integrated Biodiversity Management. So my question is, are these entities working together on these issues?
Yeah, that is also a kind of good kind of question too, because of the Lower Songkhram is not only the national contact to do like Thailand, because the downstream is connect to the Mekong. So it's important that the three key players have to work together. Yeah, but currently there is also a mechanism through the Mekong River Commission that they try to connect between the regional contact and national contact to provide the platform or kind of table to discuss how the Mekong is linked to the Lower Songkram and what kind of regional support that need to be addressed, at that basin. But however, I see that it's not enough as I see the current practice. They have only few time meeting and also they are not really well connected to the local level yet. So that's why I think the challenge now how to link these three levels together in the same time to make sure that the dot is well connect and to make sure that the voice from the local community is a part of decision process or they may have some power to make also their own decision. So that is something that I think it need to be addressed more effective, in the current way.
So Tanapan, I'm glad you mentioned about the different scales. There are the national and international scales and the local scales. And so I was wondering about community based, at the local scale, the community based adaptation measures. Two questions. One is in Thai governance systems and culture, are community based systems and governance systems well established historically that such efforts have, higher success rates, or is this something new in the country? And a related question is, can you describe a few specific ways in which SEI Asia is interacting in that space at the local level?
So first, I would say that community-based action in Thailand is not new. I think since our Ramanai, they promote a lot community-based adaptation, community-based livelihood, you know. So it's well established in Thailand. So and also in terms of governance structure, we already decentralized the power to the local government, you know, on supporting community to develop kind of their own agenda. So I think there's well kind of address on this issue already. But however, not only the community scale, some issue is beyond the community scale. I come back to like a Mekong, you know, the community itself, they cannot manage the river flow back to the Mekong, right? And also they cannot also control the upstream, let's say, flow from other province. So this is way or room or opportunity for SEI to link with them and try to connect the system, or maybe try to promote that they have to think beyond community in some aspect, you know, like how to manage upstream, downstream, and how to make sure that the knowledge and awareness is not promote in only the downstream part, you know, that have to be also promote into the upstream parts as well, to make sure that the Lower Songkhram have enough flow with a good quality to maintain the biodiversity, you know, itself. Yeah.
So what kind of activities are you doing with these communities? If you'd like to
Okay.
describe one or two.
Yeah. So first we try to again to re kind of valuation of ecosystem service, because as I mentioned in the previous question about the key traits, you know, we would like now to compare between the past, let's say 15, 20 year right now, you know, how much the ecosystem valuation, you know, different from the past and why, you know, that is one that we would like to know. And this answer can also help the government to update the plan or better understanding the new context, you know, in the Lower Songkhram. Second, we also support the local government and national government in Thailand to develop kind of the tool to monitor the wetland health through remote sensing kind of technology, you know, as we know that's very advanced now, and also this is a large area scale, so human resource may not enough to monitor this kind of large scale changing. So that's why we introduce the kind of remote sensing technique, you know, to support them have a bigger picture in terms of monitoring. And apart from monitoring, we also develop kind of modeling system, you know, to assess the different scenario of the Lower Songkhram for planning purpose. As I mentioned, we would like to bring key actor on the table and try to bring them on the kind of big picture. You know, if you do that, what happened with this, and if we do this, what happened with that. You know, this will give them more idea, and based on the scientific information, you know, for planning purpose. So that to main kind of contribution right now for our kind of work under the Water Beyond Boundary project. But at the end, we also expect that from this kind of information, we can influence the decision in different level to consider the importance of the ecosystem and biodiversity in the development plan. You know, try to put the ecosystem as a priority, similar to other development sector like water supply or agriculture, you know. So that's gonna be make kind of sustainable way for the Lower Songkram.
Thank you, Thanapon. Thanapon, currently on the planet we have more frequent rains, droughts, floods, change in the weather patterns, etc. In your opinion, how do the community members around the basin react to this situation? Are they resilient? Are they aware of these extreme situations? What is your opinion?
First, I think what I see from the field is they start aware about uncertainty, so they can observe, the change from the rain pattern. In example, normally the rain in Thailand should begin in May, but right now they feel that the rain come late of May or in June, in example. So that's why some, let's say not all, some community that have resilient, they start adapt by themselves first. Try to, not planting right in the same time in May, but they try to plant it gradually, like maybe 30% of the area first in May. If the rain come, then they increase the area of planting. In example, that is kind of one adaptation on ground that we observe from the field survey. Secondly, is also they have more kind of aware about weather forecast, weather information through the mobile app or through the news now. I think community aware on this kind of information for their planning on agriculture or fishery, in example. But however, I mean, some community also still vulnerable because of many kind of conditions like education, poverty, or maybe a landowner. They don't have much options for adapt. They just, leave whatever it is. That is also kind of the group that we very interesting on our research too, how we help them to improve their livelihood. What kind of support, do they need for that? Yeah.
Thank you, Tanapon. Before continuing, Vishal, something that is very interesting to me is that this case of the Songkhram River basin is pretty similar to the Magdalena River basin in Colombia. Do you remember that in previous episodes we talked about teleconnections with Claudia Coleoni?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, related to teleconnections, I am remembering what Thanapon was saying earlier today about, dams he mentioned. So I wanted to go back to that Thanapon, at that scale. Are there big infrastructure projects that you think are coming up upstream, and how do you think that might change the lower Songkhram River basin?
Definitely ครับ it's welcome as this is a kind of agenda in other country, in the upstream that they would like to do the energy security and use the energy to support socio-economic, in their own country. So I work in the Mekong already almost 17 years in no dams. Until now it's almost 100 dam in the system. so
Oh, are you
so
saying that when you started working 17 years ago, there were no dams?
there's few dam, let's say, not a large
Few,
dam yet,
few dams.
you know not a large.
Hmm. And
It's
now there
almost
are how
100
many did you say?
dams now in the system within 15 years. So it's rapid
Wow.
development. So that's why it's now become a drastical change, in the Mekong flow that we already observe, or it's already evident that hydrological condition in the Mekong is changing. No perception, no guess. It's very clear now. So that's why it's also affect Lower Songkhram, as I mentioned first, for sure on the river flow, and also our research will prove that through the modeling system that we set to the remote sensing data that we are doing. We will try to prove this that the hydrological or river flow or flooded area in the Lower Songkhram is changing from the past. So that's one. Secondly, the long-term consequence from the flow chain is going to be linked to the sediment and nutrients from the flow to the Tonle because normally water or flow, it doesn't mean just water. In the Mekong, it's come with the nutrients that that is a food for fish, and also to serve the stability
Right.
of river banks along the Mekong, in example. So that's gonna be a long-term impact, on the fertilizer, on the food for the fish, in example, and also other, I mean, ecosystem biodiversity. And the third part is more than kind of volume of water when we see is also linked to the fluctuation of the water level in the Mekong River because it's not nature anymore, right? Sometimes no rain, but you can have rising water level. In example, one sometimes you see rain, but you don't see water. In example, so this water fluctuation is also affect I think fish behavior or fish, migration routine in example. So that's kind of a consequence ครับ on the dam development through the whole system, not only Lower Songkhram but also it's have like kind of large scale kind of consequent impact downstream as well to Tonle Sap in example in Cambodia and maybe Vietnam Delta as well. Yeah.
Thanapon, governments are important stakeholders. So, do you coordinate with Cambodia, with Laos, China, Myanmar, or Vietnam when you are working with some projects, or just you guys are focused only in Thailand?
Yes, actually now there are two mechanisms for coordinations on transboundary river management. The first one is Mekong River Commission that I used to work before. So this is a intergovernment body. So they have kind of agreement together, but uh, the agreement is only signed for four countries, including Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, not include Myanmar and China. So Myanmar and China is more like dialogue partner, you know. So that's why this is also kind of a good body to start coordinate among member country in the Mekong region. And from my experience, also there are not many transboundary river have this kind of coordination body, you know, to talk or discuss. Of course, even we know that they're gonna have dam development somewhere somehow, but at least they, beforehand, because they have kind of procedure for notification, in advance. Uh-huh. So that's kind of a mechanism that MRC Mekong River Commission have. But however, the recently year, last 4 or 5 years, there are new cooperation mechanism called Lan Chang Mekong Cooperation that lead by China. Also set up a kind of platform or room to dialogue now among 6 countries, you know. So in this cooperation, water is one issue also that they established, but it's beyond kind of water resource management. They also have other kind of economic development aspect in this cooperation as well. So this is kind of two main mechanism now for six government, to discuss, debate, negotiation, uh-huh. Yeah.
Tanapon, before wrapping up, do you have any personal experience that you have had in the river basin, that you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I think my greatest experience is now the community is kind of actively, to learn, to adapt, and they're open for everything, to make sure that the kind of environmental or ecosystem service will be able to continue for the next generation. That is what I very kind of feel great, when they talk about the new generation, how to conserve biodiversity, how to conserve ecosystem service, how to conserve community forest to the next generation. Second, they also try to engage the youngs into the activity or into the process of decision making. That is also I see the kind of great experience what I get from the ground. Yeah.
Thank you, Tanapon. Very interesting. Vishal, is there anything that you would like to add to this conversation?
Just sharing a thought I had about how these tensions in development are age old and continue, it seems, forever. For example, development and development for whom? For example, when Thanapon was talking about 100 dams being built in 15 years on the Mekong, I was just thinking about recent news that in the western U.S. in the Klamath River basin they are taking down a few dams, removing them to revive salmon fisheries that native peoples relied on for ages and ages. So we have different things going on in different places and different stories, and who matters and development for whom. These are some of the thoughts I've had through this conversation. But apart from that, I just wanted to thank Thanapon. It's a pleasure to have you in our Davis office and on this podcast, Water Stories.
Tanapong, I enjoy this conversation with you and Vishal, and I don't know if you would like to add something else.
No, I'm also glad to have this podcast to also to share experience in the Lower Songkhram to wider audience, and that is also one of aspect of our project, to bring Lower Songkhram to the global attention, and also that's gonna return to the Lower Songkhram in terms of experience or technical support, like Michelle mentioned that we also try to say that US now try to remove the dam. Do you want to repeat the same pathway, but our kind of role in terms of scientist, that is our role, but in terms of decision is still a complex sphere, it's not only this kind of remark, they have to consider, I think, many factors before they make a decision, but at least I believe that they should have kind of second thought, or third thought before make a critical decision right now. So yeah.
Thank you, Tanapon. My last comment will be that when I read your report, one of the key recommendations is empower local communities. And I couldn't agree more with you because the communities are essential to implement all kind of process. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Vishal, thank you so much. Until the next episode.
Until then, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Stay tuned to our next episode.